Independent National Electoral Commission is considering making the national identity number a precondition for registering voters when the continuous voter registration exercise commences in a few weeks. According to INEC, the NIN will help tackle challenges of underage voting, alien voting, and other challenges associated with registration. Meanwhile, INEC has not registered any Nigerian in over 2 years, a development which civil society groups have criticized. The Commission had announced in November that the registration exercise will begin in the first quarter of 2021, and several government organizations have made the NIN a precondition for obtaining documents. So we're now being joined by the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, INEC, Festus Okoye, for more on this. So, Mr. Okoye, thank you very much for coming on Newsnight this evening. So with all the drama around the NIN SIM harmonization program, why is INEC throwing its weight behind it? Why is INEC getting involved in this?
No. The commission is a constitutional body. Our powers are derived from the Constitution and the law. To that particular extent, if you look at sections 77 subsection 2, section 117 subsection 2, section 132 subsection 5, and also section 178 subsection 5, you will see that INEC has the constitutional virus and the constitutional power to register voters. The moment somebody turns 18, the person is qualified to be registered. The moment somebody is a Nigerian citizen, the person is qualified to be registered. So these are the conditions for registration set out in the Constitution. Now, if you also look at the section 10 of the Electoral Act, it sets out the requirements for registration. 1, if you want to be registered as a voter in Nigeria, you must present yourself to the registration officer in person. In other words, there's no proxy registration. Now, when you approach the registration officer, you must be armed with certain documents. 1, you must be armed with either your birth certificate or baptismal certificate or your driver's license or your national identity card or any other document that shows your age, that shows your identity, and also shows that you are a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These are the constitutional and statutory requirements for registration. So the NIMS card may just be one of those things you can show to a registration officer to be qualified for registration. The Commission has the largest database in Nigeria. We have on our database over 84 million Nigerians. So we don't need to make any other registration device a precondition for registration when the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Electoral Act have set out the criteria for registration and the requirements for registration and what somebody must possess in order to be registered.
Then it seems you're contradicting what we are reporting, that INEC says that you have to have your NIN. It is compulsory to have it to register. And I'd also like to find out from you exactly why you've not been able to do the continuous voter registration for all of 2 years. You've not been able to do that in 2 years. What exactly stopped you when it's supposed to be a continuous exercise?
It's a very, very expensive exercise. You will recall that we just came out from a major general election, and then after the general election, we ran the Bayelsa governorship elections. After the Bayelsa governorship election, we had the Edo and the Ondo governorship election. We have promised the Nigerian people that we are going to roll out our mechanisms for voters registration, either by the last quarter of 2021 or the beginning of the second quarter. As at now, we are concentrating on expanding access to the polling units. So many of our polling units are in places that are not accessible. We have had new settlements and population has grown. So to that particular extent, we need to find ways and means of taking the polling units closer to the people so that during voters registration, people can register in places that are closer to them. But we are in the process of acquiring new data enrollment devices that will make our database state of the art. So we are working assiduously to make sure that all those who have attained the age of 18 by the before the live registration exercise have an opportunity of being registered. So we are not sitting down, we are working hard to make sure that we give Nigerians a very good voters register, and also make sure that all those who are eligible to be registered get the opportunity of being registered.
Very clearly, will the NIN be compulsory to register or not? And if it is compulsory, or if it will be compulsory, will it not be disenfranchising some people who whose fault it may not even be not being able to register because of maybe inefficiency within the system?
Well, in Nigeria, voters registration is not compulsory. What is compulsory is that before you approach the registration officer for purposes of being registered, you must make sure that you appear in person, you must make sure that you are a Nigerian citizen, and you must also make sure that you appear with all the necessary documents that will prove your age, prove that you are a Nigerian citizen, and also prove that you are domiciled in the place where you intend to register. So voters registration in Nigeria is not compulsory. If there are other documents, if there are other requirements under a different law that is compulsory, that does not apply to the commission, because the conditions for voters registration are clearly set out in the Constitution and in the law. And since the Constitution is the fundamental law of the land, we cannot depart from the provisions of the Constitution in order to give prominence to a different statutory instrument. So we are guided as of today by the Constitution and by the provisions of the Electoral Act, and also our regulations and guidelines relating to voters registration. But as I said, to register as a voter is not compulsory. But if you attain the age of 18 and you present yourself to the registration officers and you don't have any disqualifying element, we will definitely register you.
We've got to let you go because we're going to take a break, but in one sentence, or yes or no, do you need to have a NIN before you can register as a voter? Yes or no, sir?
I didn't get the last point you made.
I'm not sure. I was just asking, do you need to have a NIN, Mr. Okoye, before you can register as a voter in Nigeria? Yes or no?
My answer is no.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what we wanted to know. Time for a short break. When we return, more stories, and thanks to Mr. Okoye for joining us.